ancestors and speak the truth about our history. Those who started National Day of Mourning could never have envisioned that we would be here year after year carrying on this tradition. Many of the elders who stood on this hill and organized that first day of mourning are no longer with us, but we feel their spirits guiding us today. Nearly 46 years ago, my father, an Aquinnah-Wampanoag man, Wamsutta Frank James, was invited to address a gathering of so-called dignitaries celebrating the 350th anniversary of the stumbling ashore of the so-called Pilgrims. When he was asked by the organizers to provide an advance copy of the speech he planned to deliver, Wamsutta agreed. Within days, he was told his words were not acceptable. The planners of the gathering, fearing the truth, told him he could speak only if we're willing to speak false words in praise of the white man. The organizers were even willing to write a speech for him. After all, they said, the theme of the celebration is brotherhood, and anything inflammatory would be out of place. He refused to attend the banquet and have words put into his mouth. National Day of Mourning came into being as a result of his refusal. What was it that got those state officials so upset? Wamsutta used as a basis for his remarks one of their own history books, Mort's Relation, a pilgrim account of their first year on Indian land. What really happened at the first Thanksgiving, or what some of us like to call it, the first Thanks-taking? The truth has been largely buried for 396 years. In 2020, Plymouth is planning to celebrate 400 years of Pilgrim mythology. And I don't think that anyone from United American Indians of New England is going to be invited to address that banquet. And if we are, rest assured that no advance copy of our remarks will be sent. But here is the truth. We might say that the first Thanksgiving occurred when the Pilgrims arrived here and gave thanks for the untimely deaths of most of the Wampanoag due to diseases contracted from earlier European visitors. As a result, when the Pilgrims arrived, they found the fields already cleared and planted, and they called them their own. The first officially declared day of Thanksgiving in Massachusetts was proclaimed in 1637 by Governor Winthrop of the Massachusetts Bay Colony. He did this to give thanks for the safe return of the white men from the colony who had gone to what is now Mystic, Connecticut, to participate in the massacre of over 700 men, women, and children of the Pequot Nation. The Pilgrim William Bradford, in his famous history of the Plymouth plantation, rubbed his hands together with delight and had this to say about the Pequot massacre. Those that escaped the fire were slain with the sword. Some hewed to pieces, others run through with their rapiers, so as they were quickly dispatched, and very few escaped. It was conceived they thus destroyed about 400 at this time. It was a fearful sight to see thus frying in the fire, and the streams of blood quenching the same. And horrible was the stink and scent thereof, but the victory seemed a sweet sacrifice. And they gave the prayers therefore to God, who had wrought so wonderfully for them, thus to enclose their enemies in their hands and give them so speedy a victory over so proud and insulting an enemy. Year after year, the white settlers of Massachusetts gave thanks for the ongoing deaths of the indigenous peoples of New England, culminating with the years of King Philip's War, which was 1676 to 1677, when the whites declared, quote, a day set apart for public thanksgiving because there now scarce remains a name or family of the Indians but are either slain, captivated, or fled. About the only true thing in the mythology is that these pitiful European strangers would not have survived their first several years in New England were it not for the aid of the Wampanoag people. What native people got in return for this help was genocide, the theft of our lands, and never-ending repression.
Welcome, good afternoon. Greetings to all of the indigenous people who are here today from all over. You know, I'd like to ask everybody here who is native When I count to 3, I want you all to yell hello or greeting in your language. Can we do that? I want to hear it loud now, okay? 1, 2, 3. There we go. We speak many different languages, and it's been so important for us to work hard to preserve our languages, and in some cases to relearn our languages. We want to give a shout out to those who are observing Unthanksgiving at Alcatraz Island this morning, and to all our people everywhere who are taking the time to mourn our ancestors instead of celebrating Thanksgiving. We understand that there was a sunrise ceremony in Washington State this morning, in Oregon, and that people in Baltimore are spending an hour right now honoring National Day of Mourning and also supporting Walmart workers there. Supporting Walmart workers is a good way to honor National Day of Mourning. And there are small observances happening in many places all around the country and the world. We welcome everyone who has traveled here as our family. New York City is here. Thank you once again to the International Action Center for bringing a bus from Manhattan. There's also a Haitian community bus that came from Brooklyn. Merci à Daoud et notre amie haïtienne. Don't make fun of me, I'm sorry. We want to welcome our union sisters and brothers from Local 8751 Boston school bus drivers who help us with the logistics every single year since 1970. And we want you to find out more about them and the fact that some of our union brothers need to get their jobs back. All right? Local 8751. And in this time of rampant Islamophobia in many quarters throughout the world, we want to give a special welcome to our Muslim friends who are here today. When I look out, I see people standing here from the 4 directions. And when we had the prayer ceremony earlier, the 4 directions were represented there. That was such a powerful prayer ceremony. Those prayers, those dances are so ancient. You know, the Spanish and the Pilgrims came here, and they're new to this country. They don't understand the land here. They don't understand what it is to live here yet. That's why we're trying to teach about this. But when we hear these prayers that are so old, we know them in our hearts, and we have this strong spirit feeling that we all got from this ceremony this morning, and I'm so grateful for everyone who was part of that. So now, let us all focus together on our ancestors and come together, all our ancestors. Today, we mourn for the loss of our Mashpee sister, Constance Lone Eagles Cromwell, who stood proudly at National Day of Mourning for decades. She was once arrested for wearing an American flag upside down. She spoke here every year. We remember Sam Sapiel, our Penobscot elder, Wamsutta Frank James, all the elders who came before us and who have passed into the spirit world. When the Europeans came into our harbors with their little boats, no one could have imagined the destruction that would follow. So many native people died so rapidly that scientists now say it caused planetary climate change. Millions of living beings, animals, insects, birds, fish, plants, were wiped out by the ravages of European colonialism. The land and water and sky have been violated. All of this is in our hearts as we stand here today. Indigenous people are largely erased in mainstream media, in government statistics, in discussions of race and racism. Additionally, we have to deal with disrespect and cultural appropriation. That is what happens when people rip off our cultures and designs, or when you see pop stars and white kids at music festivals walking around with their fake headdresses. But we resist this erasure at every opportunity, whether it is by public awareness events like today or by teaching our languages and cultures to our children. There is still a lot of racism directed at us by hateful people, the same kind of people who want to keep waving their precious Confederate flags. They don't care that our Native youth have the highest suicide rate in the country. In fact, some bigots joke about things like this. These racists ignore or mock the extreme disparities in health, housing, education, and income that Indigenous people face daily. Even when we speak loud and clear for everyone to hear on an issue that should be a matter of simple human decency, when we say that schools and sports teams need to stop using racist mascots and team names, some white people refuse to listen. This past year, President Obama expressed concern about the conditions of Indigenous people in the U.S. We will see whether any of these government efforts will last very long. But it has at least given hope to some youth that they will not continue to be ignored. Do you want to come over here? Yeah. We have been really fortunate that Leonard Peltier, our brother and political prisoner, has been able to send us a message every year. It gets increasingly difficult for him to do so. He's in a prison where they're on lockdown nearly constantly. So even if you're just minding your own business and not doing anything, they put the whole prison on lockdown if there's been a problem. One of the things that the Defense Committee is asking immediately is that he be transferred out of the maximum security facility in Florida, where he is now, to something with less security and something that's much closer to his family and to his people. But the bigger demand that we have to work on is that Obama grants executive clemency to Leonard before Obama leaves office. We have to do that. We have to do that. You know, Leonard is 71 years old now. It's hard to be in prison when you're 20. It's unimaginable to be in prison when you're 71 and in poor health and with severe diabetes. It's unimaginable what elder prisoners go through. So I want everybody here today, to tell other people about Leonard and to do everything that you can within this next year to free him. Right now as we have a message from him, a few people are going to go through the crowd with a red dance shawl. And we're asking you please to make a donation into the shawl. It's a blanket dance to raise money for Leonard's Defense Committee. They need money to pay rent and pay for mailings and fly around and to send money to Leonard and everything else that they do. It's very important work that they do, and it's important that Leonard not be abandoned. We can't ever abandon him. We must never forget him. Bert Waters, he's wonderful, and he's here every year, and he's going to read the message from Leonard. He always wants me to say how old he is, too. So. Yeah, he's 85. And he's gorgeous. And when we do the march today, you will see he'll be at the front, and he'll be dancing the whole way on the march. So when we get on the march, after we're done with the rally here, you should come up and shake his hand and tell him how amazing he is.
Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. Statement from Leonard Peltier to 46th National Day of Mourning, November 26, 2015. Brothers and sisters, it makes my heart happy to know so many of you are keeping this day of mourning event going. I hear there is going to be a National Geographic movie this month called Saints and Strangers about the real Thanksgiving. I want you to know that I know this has only come about from your combined protest and determination to expose what really happened. But damn, has it ever taken so long?
let's hope this film does tell the truth. I, for one, thank you very much, as this is what it was, and is what it's all about. Getting the real history told about the genocide that was committed against us as a race of people and against our nations. If we don't do this, then it can and will happen again until we have all been exterminated. I'm so proud of you young people out there, too, all over the country, standing up for our nations and taking over, because some of us can no longer get out there to stand by your sides or to stand there with you and shake your hands. February 6, 2016 will make it 40 straight years in here. 40 straight years. And under the laws, I was indicted for life. A life term was 7 years. I have served over 6 life sentences. As you know, I was sentenced to only 2. To Native peoples, this is also not surprising. In fact, this is something that happens on a regular basis throughout Indian country. And as always, this is not acceptable to us. So we protest, and we protest some more. Over the last 4 decades, I have been supported by people of all backgrounds and races and religions. As we approach the 1-year mark on President Obama's remaining time in office, it is crucial for my survival that everyone who has ever supported my release to please contact my official committee that works on behalf and coordinates the organization with me. In 2008, when asked about my case, then Senator Obama supposedly said, and we quote, "Show me the support," unquote. If all of you dedicate some of your time in 2016 to support my bid for clemency, I believe this president has the courage to do the right thing and let me go home. Remember too that we have brothers and sisters who are themselves wrongfully incarcerated. And I ask that we all coordinate to put an end to these injustices. I wish I could lie to you and tell you I'm okay. But that would not be fair to you. Today I have another call to the prison doctor, to the prison clinic. I guess some of the results must have come back from my last blood work. I know I'm not feeling very well. It seems as if there are so many things wrong with me. I don't know what to do, what to say to you, or even where to start. Hell, I cannot even sit for any length of time. When I get up, my plexus area hurts so bad. I cannot walk very slowly and while hanging on to someone for support. But after a few steps, I'm okay. So I move right along with the crowd. But these first few steps are awfully painful. I asked for a cushion, but was told they don't have any here, and to make one myself from a blanket. Well, newsflash, I did this, and every time I did, they took it away. Yep, for some reason, this is illegal. Then I have to deal with the other medical problems. So yeah, this is my Sundance. But you know what? You're all worth it. And I would not hesitate to suffer for any of you again and again. Well, I better end this before you get bored with me. So again, thank you, all of you, for being decent, loving human beings. in the spirit of Crazy Horse, Dr. Leonard Peltier. I'm told his words, Doctor, I'll be with you again, or I'll see you soon. Thank you.